Hello everyone and welcome to this video where I will be talking about Kagurabachi. And you know what? My opinions on I never read Kagurabachi since I read chapter 1 when it came out because of the memes, but I didn't end up liking it. I thought it was a entertaining first chapter, but narratively, story-wise, writing-wise, an absolute disaster. So I didn't continue reading it. But I know that it's like we're 50 chapters in, it's still going, and people are saying that it's actually pretty good. So I decided, you know what, I'm reviewing manga, so let's get it. And I'm gonna be reviewing Kagurabachi. And I gotta say, my opinions in the first 3 or 4 chapters was like a very negative opinion. But as the story progressed, I actually ended up liking it a lot. So I honestly, I can say, I don't know if the author has, I don't know who the editor is behind Kagurabachi, but I mean, bro, the editor did a magnificent job, because the first 3 chapters I was not a fan of, but after chapter 5, I was hooked. I said, all right. And honestly, the more chapters I read, the more it's progressed. And listen, I am not bullshitting you. I know, I'm pretty sure that this manga started off as a meme. But honestly, for being a meme, it's genuinely not bad. It's genuinely a pretty good and well-structured manga. It's actually pretty good. So I'm going to be talking about, this is going to be my first arc reviews. So basically what I'm going to have in this channel is I'm going to have, weekly manga reviews. So when the chapter comes out, how I've been doing, I'm going to put up a chapter and I'm going to put a review for that chapter. But what I'm also going to do is I'm also going to review either finished manga or ongoing manga that I plan on reviewing weekly or monthly, but that is kind of well versed. So basically, if you've noticed, there are some manga that, I kind of start reviewing instantly from picking up where the chapter where I am, because I've been following them. But there are some manga like Kagurabachi, Count of Days, where I haven't really been following up with them. So I'm going to be uploading reviews on arcs or chunks of chapters, hopefully every week, so that I can put it out until I catch up with it. And then after that, I'm going to stop and just continue reviewing that manga weekly. But there are other manga like Black Clover, maybe My Hero Academia, maybe Naruto, maybe One Piece, and maybe Vinland Saga, other manga that have that are very much longer or already finished, which I will review by arcs. So that's basically the plan. And Kagurabachi is one of those first manga that I will be reviewing, what I'm going to call an arcly review, which is a review of an arc. And I'm going to talk about from chapters 1 to chapter 19-ish, which is the chapter where it's Sojover. So without further ado, it's time for Kagurabachi. We're going to Kagurabachi review. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. I'm sorry. So, Kagurabachi, I gotta say, this manga, by the time I finished that last chapter from this arc, from the Sojo Arc, I'm calling it that. I don't know what's the official name. Dude, I'm hooked on this manga. Period. I'm fucking hooked. I'm really liking it. I think it has really good potential. I'm definitely sure that spoilers, by the way, from chapters 1 to chapter all the way to chapter 20, because but yeah, I'm reviewing those 20 chapters. So spoilers, you are warned. So dude, Kagurabachi is actually not that bad. Honestly, what I ended up liking about Kagurabachi is just how good it got as each chapter continued. So I'm going to start talking about first from the first chapters on to the 20-ish chapters. So my review on the first 3 chapters is that the number one, the exposition is downright bad. It's downright absolutely horrible. There are instances where we're giving exposition for no fucking reason, and it wouldn't really make sense to give that exposition in that context. For example, there is one scene where we're in the first chapter where Chihiro, I'm going to call him like that, Chihiro, where Chihiro, again, how I would pronounce it in Spanish, where Chihiro is killing these guys and he's going to wield the katana, and he uses the abilities of the katana for the first time, the magic of the katanas. And his friend, which I always forget his name, like the I'm gonna say he's blonde, like the blonde magic guy. I'm gonna call him Brad Pitt. Anyway, Brad Pitt here. So like the blonde magic dude like is sitting outside with the people that they rescued, or that they're kind of like killing or something, I don't know. And he tells them, you see that kid? Yeah, he has an enchanted blade made by Kurohira, and that magic blade does this and it does that, and he's explaining it to that guy, and I'm like, why are you explaining it to him? Like there's no point in like you doing that. It's just there's no point in doing that. And then in other chapters, when I'm gonna call her Car because with CH, but I'm gonna call her Char because I imagine it's Char. So Char is so like Chihiro is fighting with like the bomb guy, and then the blonde dude, he explains to him like, oh yeah, like so what ends up with like the way that the katana works is you have to use spirit energy, and he's explaining to her how that works. And I'm like, why are you explaining it to her in like technical terms? Like, she said she wants to learn, but like, are you giving her a class? Like, if you're not giving her a class about it, there is no real point in you explaining to her how that works. You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird in that aspect because the exposition is really bad. And then when Chihiro takes Char, like the blonde guy is like, oh, he's very good at taking care of people. He did it with his father. I'm like, I could see that, you know, that it's one of those, like that part of he's very good at taking care of people that could be done by just, you know, showing me that he takes care of his dad. Those are some of the things that you should not tell, that you should like show. Explaining the magic system, though, that is something that you should tell, not show. Tell and show, but mostly tell. But you should use it. You should do it correctly, which is something that the author did correctly in later chapters. Because in later chapters, he basically has the narrator, or I don't know, like the author basically has the narrator explain what's happening and how the power is working. And that's how you're kind of supposed to do it. Now, you can do it in two different instances. I don't know if you guys know Brandon Sanderson. He's a fantasy author, a pretty good fantasy author. And so he explains that, for example, in his books, what you can do is have a mentor/apprentice relationship. So that way you have an excuse for the master to explain to the apprentice explicitly how the magic system works. And if that doesn't work out, then you can just have the narrator explain how the magic system works, which is kind of what ended up happening. A very popular case, very recent case, Jujutsu Kaisen. So in Jujutsu Kaisen, the narrator is the one that kind of explains what the fuck is happening to you. And I guess the editor told Kagurabachi's author, like, so instead of having the character explaining shit randomly to random fucking people, why don't you just have the narrator explain the magic system, which is later what ended up happening. And then in other instances, Chihiro was explaining shit to like the elite squad who were like not so elite, who he explained shit to the elite squad and explaining how that magic system worked. So again, it got better. So like those first three chapters were kind of clunky with exposition in random ass places, but then as it progressed, the narrator started explaining what was happening with the magic system, and then Chihiro himself, the character himself, was kind of explaining to other characters how the magic system worked, and it's really, really, really good. Like, it's honestly really interesting. So again, the writing got better. So it went from being clunky to being, all right, this is pretty good. This is what I wanted. So again, it got really, 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 really much better. So like for those first two chapters were kind of clunky, but honestly, those first 15, 20 chapters are an example of what you should do when you have a new manga, because those 20 chapters went by fucking fast, boy. Like, Chihiro fought against those guys at the warehouse, and then he fought the bomb guy with Char, and then from there he fought some other mages, and then from there he fought against Sojo, and then from there he fought against like some dudes in the warehouse, and then from there he fought against Sojo again. And I was like, yo, what the fuck? It gave me huge John Wick vibes, in the sense of John Wick has a pretty good story structure. It's not the best, and it's not like, you know, groundbreaking, but it does follow a pretty good narrative. The first one, at least. The other ones follow a good narrative, but they do kind of make decisions where I'm like, why did you do this? Right? But it has a pretty good story structure. It does a really good, it does really a good job at like narrating stuff, and it has really good action. And that's the thing that I want to talk about next. So, for those first 3 chapters, the story, the pacing, the writing was kind of clunky, but later it got really good. So yeah, and it's still speaking about the first 3 chapters. The action, though, across the 20 chapters was just good. The action and the paneling are just amazing. I had though the first 3 chapters were hard for me to read because of the narrative, because of the story, because of the writing. But what kept me going was just the paneling and the action. Holy fucking shit. And like towards the end, the paneling got so much better. It's so fucking artistic. I don't want to sound like a fucking idiot, which I probably do, but it felt very cinematic in manga format. Like it felt really good. It reminded me a lot of like the first times that I read Fujimoto, like Chainsaw Man. I said, yo, this paneling is fucking godly. Like it's really good. Like the paneling is absolutely amazing. The panels flow very well. There are a lot of stylistic choices which you'll see on screen with like the images that I have. Again, there's so much fucking style. Like this, like if I could name a new gen manga that has the sauce, it would be Sakamoto Days. I've read about like 30 chapters now. Sakamoto Days and Kagurabachi have so much fucking sauce, because the paneling is good and the fucking action is immaculate. Like honestly, I busted a nut reading the action in this manga. It's really fucking good. So the action is top notch from start to finish. It was great. And the paneling, dude, there's some artistic choices that are absolutely amazing. Again, this shit is like good. I wish more honestly, I wish Kagurabachi blows the fuck up and becomes like the next JJK, so that, you know, manga can incorporate this more, because the stylistic choices taken in this manga are just immaculate, are really, really good. It's absolutely great, right? And honestly, overall, really great work. Like again, I felt the manga get better and better and better and better. And I like the narrative choices taken. For example, speaking now after chapter 3, where I started to like it, I liked the narrative choice of contrasting Chihiro and Sojo, where Chihiro was taking his body to the limit to help somebody, and Sojo was taking his body to the limit just to prove that he's better, and like the katana are made to slaughter. And I love that in the end, the philosophical battle of Chihiro saying that the katanas were made to save lives, and Sojo thought that the katana were made to destroy lives. In the end, Chihiro ended up winning, and his resolve was the one that won, because yes, katana are made to solve and save people. And that was pretty fucking poetic. That was really, really good. And I really enjoyed it. And I liked the versatility of the manga, because again, it's a hard magic system, but it's also kind of a soft magic system. So it's a soft magic system because you can't really detect what each katana does. But once you know what each katana does, it follows those rules. So for example, Sojo's katana, Cloud Gauger, I think that's what it's called. No, Gauger or Gauger, Cloud Gauger, Gauger. Cloud Gauger has 3 abilities: to create ice, to create water, and to create electricity. 3 very simple things, but it's really fucking broken because, you know, Sojo used the more experience he got and more in tune he got with the katana is He used the water to spread water, but then also freeze the water, but then unfreeze that water and maybe create more water and use that water to conduct more electricity. So that reduced his cooldown time for like a big lightning attack. And it's so fucking interesting. And I like the way that the author, you know, takes this premise of just, it's three simple things, but the way that he was able to just take things, and the more he used it, the more in tune he got. It's really great. And with Chihiro's techniques, though, are a little bit more complex, and I didn't understand so much. But I like that it's a soft magic system because he can expand it more. But it's also a hard magic system because it's limited to just, Chihiro can only have a buff. So it's he can only have a buff. So it's Nishiki, which is a buff. Aka, which is the ability to absorb and copy a technique, and Kuro, which is a black flash, or like a black slash, which is like a long range attack. That's the only thing he can do, but he can mix and match them with like the buff. He mixes maybe the buff with like the slash to make the slash maybe more condensed, or like he can like mix it up, but he can only do those three things. So if he wants to make himself invisible, he fucking can, because he's only limited to those three things. So it's a soft magic, it's the hard magic system within a soft magic system. So like the katanas are a soft magic system, and like the magic and the sorcerers are very hard, soft magic system, because you don't know what they're gonna do, but then when you figure out what they can do, it becomes a hard magic system. Really good. It gives you a lot of space to invent new powers, new abilities, but it also gives you the ability to give each ability a specific constraint, so that you don't solve things with the magic system, which is really good. And honestly, I'm really excited. I like the premise. I like the idea of, you know, the government wanting the katana because they are hella fucking destructive. And I like that we were able to see just how destructive these katana are, because Sojo with just the katana was able to absolutely demolish a group of what were supposed to be an elite team. So yeah, like it's really good. And I like the whole premise of like this underground organization wanting to profit off of the katana. And maybe, I hope, again, I like it. I like that it's different. I like that it takes place in like a modern setting, but it's not like the 2024s. It's like the 19 something. It kind of feels like that. Maybe it's not, but it just kind of feels like that. I like the whole Yakuza thing. I like the whole gang thing. I like the fact that there are sorcerers. It's really good. And I like the premise where it's going. So I hope the premise kind of picks up after chapter 20 into the current chapter, because I'm really invested. I'm really interested in it. Now, I want to talk about some writing choices. So, for example, the choice of getting rid of Sojo. I want to think that the choice of getting rid of Sojo was more like maybe more an editor/editorial choice to keep the manga interesting than anything else, because the Sojo arc was amazing. I liked, again, like I said, the manga got better. Instead of outright explaining that, oh, Sojo is evil, like throughout the manga, we get constant reminders that Sojo is a fucking asshole because he kills random people. He's a mob boss, what he did to Char, how traumatized she is. And I like that it was a slow cook. It was slowly being cooked. It was being simmered until it was cooked completely. And then when we got the reveal of what actually happened to Char and what is happening to Char, the whole chapter that focuses on Char is one chapter, but it's very good. It's very like hardcore. It's very fucked up because her dad was the one that brought them in, and then they experimented on them, and it was just like a whole sad fucking thing. So it's good. It's really, really, really good. And I like the fact that we went full circle with Char learning to love her powers and using it to protect someone else. And then that person in turn protected her. And how, so Char's ideology influenced Chihiro, and then Chihiro's ideology influenced his katana, which ended up beating Sojo's own ideology. It's immaculate. It's very good. And then towards the end, we got introduced to a new character who's going to come in and try to take back the katana. So I like this whole thing where like there are good guys that want the katana back, but Cheeto wants the katanas because he knows he's the only one that can handle them. So it's like he doesn't trust anyone. So it's kind of like a free for all, like everyone versus everyone. I like it. I fuck with it. It's great. It's good. It's amazing. And so yeah, I think Sojo's whole death was, I think, to make the manga interesting and to get it going, because it does feel like this manga was hella fucking rushed. Like get shit going, like because this manga is nonstop. It's like we get like one chapter in between each fight, but like that's it. Like one chapter of like one or two pause chapters, and then from there it's like, let's fight, bitch. Let's get going. So yeah, I think it was more of an idea of, we got to make Sojo a real badass. We got to make him evil, and we got to kill him off right now to show that we're gonna kill off a character. We're gonna kill off the elite squad, who were supposedly, I thought were gonna be around for long. They're not around for long. So to make it more impactful and like, oh shit, to make it very fast paced so that the manga can keep going. I imagine that if this manga keeps going with this pace, it's not going to be a very long manga. Or if it doesn't keep going with this pace, like if it keeps going with this pace, it'll either be a short manga, like maybe 100, 150 chapters long. Or if it keeps going with this pace and is a long-running manga, a lot of shit is going to happen. So, yeah, I'm interested. I'm very invested. And I just want to have a little theory. Again, don't spoil me. But I think because they talk about 6 katanas and that they didn't know about the existence of a 7th one. So I want to believe that maybe the 7th one could be potentially the one that Cheeto himself made. So he learned how to make the katana and he made it. Maybe. Who knows? But I like the fact that Cheeto isn't an expert. He's also learning. And I like the contrast of, while he's learning, Sojo is also learning. But in the end, Cheeto was more talented than Sojo. It's great. I like this manga a lot. So yeah, give me your opinions on Kagurabachi so far from chapters 1 to 20. Again, it's a meme. It started off as a meme, but honestly, I think it has potential to make a name for itself, because it started off as a meme, and I think I ended up liking it a lot. It's great. It's good. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.